What if I told you that one of the richest cities on Earth doesn't look rich at all? There are no endless skyscrapers, no extravagant displays of wealth, no need to prove success. Yet behind its quiet streets, pristine lake, and timeless architecture lies a city that helps shape the global economy, where some of the world's highest salaries are earned, and one of the highest standards of living has become the norm. Welcome to Zurich, a city admired around the world for its safety, wealth, and exceptional quality of life. But if life here is so close to perfect, why do even many of its own residents say it's becoming impossible to afford? Today, we're going beyond the postcard views to uncover what it's really like to live in Switzerland's financial capital. Zurich did not begin as a financial capital. It began as a Roman customs post on the banks of the Limmat, a river that still runs through the city today, dividing it into two unofficial halves. On one side, the medieval Old Town, narrow cobblestone lanes, church spires, guild halls built centuries ago by tradesmen who once ran this city's affairs long before any bank did. On the other, a skyline shaped by finance, glass towers, discreet headquarters, and streets that empty out precisely at 6 in the evening. The guild halls are not just historical decoration. For centuries, Zurich was governed by its trade guilds, bakers, blacksmiths, weavers, each with its own hall, its own rules, its own seat at the table of power. That instinct for structured, almost ritualized order never really left the city. It simply changed clothes, moving from guild charters to banking regulations, from medieval bylaws to the strict civic codes that govern Zurich life today. Above it all sits the Uetliberg, a forested ridge locals call, half-jokingly, Zurich's own mountain. From its summit, the entire city reveals itself, the lake stretching toward the horizon, the twin spires of the Grossmünster, and beyond them, on a clear day, the first white peaks of the Alps. It is a view that explains, better than any statistic, why people who live here rarely want to leave. To live in Zurich is to live inside a system, and the first thing most newcomers learn is that the system is not a suggestion. Garbage disposal, for instance, follows one of the strictest municipal codes in Europe. Every household must use an official municipal trash bag, the Zürich sack, sold at a premium specifically because the price includes the cost of collection. Use the wrong bag, and it will not be collected. Leave it on the wrong day, and a neighbor will notice. This is not bureaucracy for its own sake. It is a cultural operating principle. Shared space is sacred, and disruption, noise, mess, disorder is treated as a kind of small social offense. Laundry cannot be done on Sundays in many apartment buildings, not by law, but by shared understanding so deeply embedded that no one questions it. Trains do not run 4 minutes late. If they run 90 seconds late, someone will mention it. And yet, none of this comes from a desire to impress outsiders. Zurich's wealth is famously invisible. There are no gold-plated towers, no ostentatious displays of luxury on the main shopping streets. A person walking down Bahnhofstrasse, one of the most expensive retail streets on the planet, might pass a man in a plain jacket who happens to be worth hundreds of millions of francs, indistinguishable from anyone else in line for coffee. This is what locals call quiet wealth, money that exists, that shapes everything, but that is never meant to be seen. Housing tells its own version of this story. Unlike many wealthy cities, Zurich has a culture of renting, not owning. The vast majority of residents, even affluent ones, lease their apartments for decades, sometimes for life, passing rent-controlled leases down through informal networks of friends and family. Finding an apartment here is less like signing a contract and more like being interviewed for a position of trust. Landlords review applications the way employers review resumes, and a good one can attract over 100 competing tenants within days. But for all its rules, Zurich hides an unexpectedly loose, sun-drunk side, and it lives on the lake. Each summer, something happens that seems almost absurd for a city with this reputation. At noon, bankers in suits, students, retirees, and office workers all converge on the water's edge, stripped down to swimsuits kept in desk drawers for exactly this purpose, and jump into the lake. Zurich Sea is glacially fed and startlingly clean. Clean enough to drink, according to locals, though few actually test that claim. Public bathing facilities called bodies dot the shoreline, some dating back over a century, built as elegant wooden platforms extending out over the water. Seebad Eng is among the most iconic, a pale, castle-like bathhouse from the 19th century, still standing at the edge of the lake, still filled every summer afternoon with bodies drying in the sun. There is an unspoken democracy to these spaces. A university student and a hedge fund manager will lie on adjacent towels, equally sunburned, equally unbothered by rank. In the long light of a Zurich summer evening, when the sun doesn't fully set until nearly 10, the lake promenade fills with a soft, unhurried energy. Bottles of local wine passed between friends sitting directly on the pavement, the Alps turning pink in the distance, and no rush anywhere to be seen. It is, for a few months a year, a city that seems to forget its own reputation entirely. Still, Zurich's identity cannot be separated from what happens behind its glass doors on weekdays. This is, after all, one of the world's most significant financial centers, home to major banks, insurance giants, and a concentration of wealth management that punches far above the city's modest size of roughly 400,000 residents. But finance is only one layer. Just outside the city center sits ETH Zurich, consistently ranked among the top technical universities on Earth, alongside the University of Zurich. Together, they've made the city a serious hub for life sciences, biotech, and increasingly, artificial intelligence research, a quieter, more academic counterpart to the banking towers downtown. For the thousands of foreign professionals who relocate here each year, drawn by salaries that are genuinely among the highest in the world, the adjustment period tells its own story. The pay is extraordinary. So is the cost of living. A coffee that costs the equivalent of a modest meal elsewhere, an apartment that demands a waiting list, and a small fortune in deposit. What surprises most newcomers isn't the expense, though. It's the pace of trust. Locals are famously reserved, slow to invite outsiders into their personal lives, wary of small talk that feels performative. Friendships, once formed, tend to be durable and sincere, but forming them takes patience most cities don't require. Work-life balance here is not a slogan. Offices frequently empty by 6. Weekends are treated as genuinely off-limits. There's a phrase that captures the local philosophy better than any brochure could. The Swiss don't live to work, and they don't work to live extravagantly. They work to protect a very specific, very quiet quality of life. Zurich is small enough to walk across in an afternoon, yet its districts feel like entirely different cities stitched together. Kreis 1 is the historical heart. Cobblestones, church bells, tourists photographing the Frau Münster's stained glass windows. Cross the river and head west, though, and the mood shifts entirely. Kreis 4 and Kreis 5, once the industrial working-class edge of the city, home to slaughterhouses, breweries, and factories, have been transformed over the past 2 decades into Zurich's creative pulse. Former industrial halls in the Zurich West District now house nightclubs, design studios, and some of the city's most inventive restaurants, all built inside the shells of old machine works. On the opposite end of the social spectrum sits Kreis 8, hugging the eastern shore of the lake, informally nicknamed the Gold Coast for its concentration of villas, private lakefront gardens, and some of the highest property values in the country. Drive along its waterfront road, and the city's wealth, usually so carefully hidden, becomes, for once, plainly visible. Gated properties, private boat docks, gardens that back directly onto the water. Between these extremes lie residential neighborhoods that make up the actual texture of daily life: Wiedekon, Oerlikon, Seifeld. Quieter districts of bakeries, small parks, and apartment blocks where most of the city's real, unremarkable, everyday living happens. If summer belongs to the lake, winter belongs to what lies just beyond the city limits. One of the quiet privileges of living in Zurich is proximity. Within about an hour, often less, residents can trade cobblestones for ski slopes. Weekend mornings in the colder months see a steady exodus towards the Alps. Trains and cars loaded with ski bags, headed for resorts that, in most other countries, would require an entire day's travel to reach. This seasonal rhythm shapes the psychology of the city more than most visitors realize. The gray, short days of a Zurich winter are made bearable by the knowledge that genuine alpine escape is never far away. That a person can finish work on a Friday afternoon and be standing at 2,000 meters, breathing thin mountain air, by early evening. The mountains aren't a vacation here. They're an extension of the weekend, built into the mental map of what this city offers. Given everything said so far, it would be easy to assume Zurich goes quiet after sundown. It doesn't. It simply hides its noise well. Beneath the reserved daytime surface exists a genuinely serious nightlife culture, much of it clustered in the same former industrial buildings of Zurich West. Techno clubs occupy old factory floors, their soundproofing so effective that a street outside can feel completely silent, while underground, a crowd dances until sunrise. This is, after all, one of the cities that helped shape European techno culture, and once a year, that history erupts into full public view during the street parade. A summer techno festival along the lake that draws crowds in the hundreds of thousands, transforming the city's most orderly boulevards into a single, thumping, multi-day celebration. The Kunsthaus, meanwhile, holds one of Switzerland's most significant art collections, quietly expanding in recent years into a major new wing designed to rival museums several times the city's size. It's a fitting metaphor for Zurich itself, understated on the outside, genuinely world-class within. What emerges after everything we've explored is a city shaped by a rare balance of contrasts. where precision meets tranquility, tradition coexists with innovation, and quiet confidence speaks louder than extravagance. Zurich never feels the need to showcase its wealth or compete for attention. Its beauty reveals itself gradually, through everyday moments, thoughtful design, and a quality of life that is felt far more than it is displayed. Life here moves with purpose, but never with unnecessary haste. As the day draws to a close, the morning mist has long disappeared. The waters of Lake Zürich reflect the warm glow of the setting sun, and the distant Alps fade into elegant silhouettes. Along the waterfront, people linger over conversations, cafes remain unhurried, and the city settles into the peaceful rhythm that defines it. Perhaps that is Zurich's greatest strength. It isn't a place that tries to impress you in a single visit. Instead, it quietly invites you to slow down, to notice the details, and to discover why so many people choose not just to visit, but to build their lives here. And with that, we'll leave you with some of Zurich's most beautiful sights and unforgettable moments. Sit back, enjoy the views, and experience the timeless charm of Switzerland's remarkable city one last time.